Jesus promises his disciples saying, quote, I will not leave you as orphans, unquote. John chapter 14:18. Some of those unhappy sights are solitary. A brown leaf tree standing sentinel over a furrowed field in the rain, a lakeside cabin closed for the winter, a once loved bicycle leaning indefinitely against the side of a garage, weeds growing in concrete cracks on a once busy road. They remind us of our loss of fellowship, or a time when we were left alone, forgotten, exposed. From time to time, our paths cross human versions of those solitary images. The woman with no front teeth asking for $1 as you walk into a restaurant, or the disheveled, gray-bearded man counting loose change with tired hands, paying for half a sandwich at a gas station. You notice the melancholy way they avert their eyes, telling us they have tragically learned to manage being utterly alone. Whenever or wherever their final cut occurred, survival amid a human wilderness became all-consuming. To some extent, we've all been acquainted with being everyone else's stranger. Exodus 23:9. What is worse is the picture of a person who is left alone in deadly peril, like a woman walking away, sobbing after placing her starving child under a bush, desperately praying, quote, do not let me see the boy die, unquote. Genesis chapter 21, verse 16. But God is the champion of the vulnerable, Isaiah 25:4. And our soul is compelled to act when God causes our path to cross our abandoned neighbor. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she considers abortion because she feels alone or threatened by abandonment. Even the most self-proclaimed independent women say things like, if he would have expressed just a little interest in helping with the baby, I would never think about aborting. Because of the lack of support, she says, I have no choice. What will her family say and do when she goes home for Thanksgiving, 8 months pregnant? Will her boyfriend leave her if she dares keep the baby? One of the scariest things about being alone is when the aloneness becomes a spectacle. Surrounded by people refusing friendship is a magnifying glass, and the mocking sun, burning us with the social intensity and emotional pain. Jesus is acquainted with this grief. His disciples, quote, all forsook him, unquote, Mark 14:50. On the cross, he alone bore the full wrath of God, crying out, quote, my God, why have you forsaken me, unquote, Matthew 27:46. A question one might imagine a woman or her preborn baby asking. Jesus' isolation became a spectacle on the cross. He was even mocked, Mark 15:29, and taunted to do the very thing our fear drives us to try to do, quote, save yourself, unquote, Luke 23:37. But salvation is precisely the point. Saviors don't need saving. Jesus could have saved himself, but decided to stay on that cross, forsaking all fellowship. Why? For fellowship's sake. So that we who cannot save ourselves might have the fellowship of a Savior. Jesus willingly became that forsaken spectacle because he refused to leave us as orphans, John 14:18. He died and rose again so that he can, quote, love us to the end, unquote, John 13:1. But it does not end there. Christ died not only that he might love us, but that we in turn might love others as he loved us. Disciples of Jesus are secure, knowing God will never leave us nor forsake us, Hebrews 13:5. Now we can confidently sacrifice on behalf of the fatherless, the stranger, the oppressed, Psalm 146:9. Our Creator is for us. He abides with us. His affirming smile shines as we, in our turn, sacrifice on behalf of others. Quote, for I gave you an example that you should also do as I did to you, unquote, John 13:15. Jesus performed no greater work than opening the dungeon door of eternal death, being spent to pay the price of the sin that imprisoned us. What then does it mean when he promised, quote, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father, unquote, John 14:12. Perhaps he had in mind his followers' self-sacrifice, leveraging their mustard seeds of faith in him to move mountains of social injustice, like abortion, one woman, one baby at a time. Matthew 17:20. Our sin made us orphans, oppressed, strangers fending for ourselves in a spiritual wasteland. Through Christ's sacrifice, we are being made whole, and all the more as we walk out his mission, a mission by which we are made beneficiaries. Quote, to seek and to save that which was lost, unquote. Luke 19:10. Double your life-saving impact. A team of donors committed over $650,000 in a dollar-for-dollar matching fund. Go to www.2ximpact.life. That's the number 2, the letter X, and the word impact.life.